තාම පටන් ගත්තේ නැහනේ.
නෑ දැන් යනකොට යනවා.
Good evening, everyone. Today we are having the last Dhamma talk of the rainy season here at the ABS temple. This is the 11th Dhamma talk that we are having, and today's Dhamma talk is sponsored by Philip Pham and Heather Duong family, and good evening, everyone. Today we are having the last Dhamma talk of the Vas season here at the ABS temple. This is the 11th Dhamma talk, and now the Vas season is over, and we will be having the Katna ceremony in next week. We will have the Bodhi Pujava in Saturday, Atavisi Buddha Puja on Saturday, and then we have actual Katna robe offering on Sunday morning, and everybody is getting ready for the ceremony. Today's Dhamma talk is sponsored by Philip Pham and Heather Duong family, and Shivananda Naru together with Shilpa and family. It is very nice that they were able to sponsor a Dhamma talk. That means sharing the Dhamma with many other people who are listening to the Dhamma and learning something regarding life and the improvement of life towards the elimination of all suffering at some point. At this level of our lives, what we are trying to do is learn the basic principle, how life works, and the sponsors of the Dhamma talk is giving an opportunity for others to learn the Dhamma that way and use that knowledge to improve their quality of life. And now we begin the Dhamma talk, and everyone please put your palms together and recite Namo Tassa to observe 5 precepts. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramēraya majjapamā datthāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Samantā cakkavālesu atrā gaccantu devata saddhammang munirājassa sunantu saggamokkhadan dhammasavana kālo ayang bhadanta. Dhammasavana kālo ayang bhadanta. Dhammasavana kālo ayang bhadanta. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Katamācā uso samma samadhi idā uso bhikkhu vivicceva kāmehi vivicceva akusalehi dhammehi savitakkang savicārang vivekajang pīti sukang pathamajjānang upasampajja viharati. Vitakka vichāranang upasama ajjatta sampā sampasadanang cetaso eko dibhavang avitakkang avichārang samadhijang pīti sukhang dutiyajjānang upasampajja viharati. Good evening, everyone. Last several Dhamma talks, I think you remember that we took several of the links of the Eightfold Path. We discussed about Sammaditthi, the wholesome view, and then we discuss Samma Vayama, wholesome effort. During this time, we covered the other part of the Eightfold Path also briefly. Today, I thought it would be helpful for us to learn a little bit more about Samma Samadhi, wholesome calmness of the mind, wholesome focus. Normally it's translated as wholesome meditation. Samadhi does not mean meditation. Meditation means the technique that we use to generate samadhi. So the general translation of most English books that we read, we see Samma Samadhi as wholesome meditation, but Samma Samadhi means wholesome focus of the mind, wholesome calmness of the mind, wholesome peace of the mind. That is the meaning of Samma Samadhi. When we think about Samma Samadhi, this is also something called Bhave by the Buddha. All links, 8 links of Eightfold Path is to be cultivated, to be developed, to be improved. That is what is called Bhave. Word Bhavana, very famous word for meditation is Bhavana, is coming from the word Bhave in the first sermon of the Buddha. Eightfold Path, Ariyo Attangiko Maggo Bhave Tabbang. To be cultivated, and Buddha says, I have cultivated it, and I knew that it is to be cultivated, and I have cultivated. That's what the Buddha said. In the first sermon, which is the Dhamma Chakka Pavattana Sutta. So Samma Samadhi means wholesome calmness of the mind is equally important as other links of the Eightfold Path. Samma Samadhi, wholesome calmness of the mind, is directly connected to the Samma Sati, wholesome mindfulness. Mindfulness is something that we can cultivate, is part of our skill to be able to monitor our own mind. Because whole Eightfold Path is for the purpose of improving our peace and happiness. So when anything that comes into our mind that destroy our peace and happiness, that is to be observed or monitored quickly, and that's the only way to protect our mind from all those negative influences that come into your mind. That is asava. Influences means asava. Our mind is constantly influenced by our sensory organs, meaning from what we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we touch, and so on, what we taste. Through our sensory organs, so much information coming into our system, unfiltered. Unfiltered means anything that arises in front of us, anything that we hear, goes into our mind, and it could be easily aggravate our mind. Those influences called asavas, kamasava, bhavasava, avijjasava, ditthasava. Kama means lustful influences. Influences related to incorrectly seeing, understanding things, avijjasava, and ditthasava, bhavasava, and all these influences come into our mind and disturb our mind. So when the mind is disturbed, there is no peace, there is no calmness. When there is no peace and calmness in our mind, it is so easy for our mind to make us do things, see things in a way that bring us pain and suffering and frustration and fears, which is called dukkha. Dukkha can be reduced for a great deal if our mind is calmer and peaceful. Therefore, samma samadhi, wholesome calmness of the mind, is so important to anyone who is interested in reducing suffering or increasing happiness and joy in life. The whole teachings of the Buddha is for the purpose of reduction of unhappiness and increasing of happiness. When we hear the word happiness, that does not mean that the happiness that we gain through joining a party or a music festival, not that type of happiness. Happiness called serene joy, absence of dukkha, is different from excitement that we receive from a party, going to a party or engaging in excitements in life. Now, the main thing that we have to remember is that when we talk about samma samadhi, when there is no samma samadhi, what is there is constant agitation of the mind, constant stirring up of the mind. If we look at a big pot of water that is boiling, open lid, fire is underneath, you can see that water, when it is boiling, constantly agitated and shaken and moving and disturbed. The water is disturbed, constantly moving up and down. So that is absence of samadhi. When the mind is agitated and stir up, like that boiling pot of water that you are looking at, our mind is also constantly get agitated and disturbed and lose the calmness of the mind. And also you can see, when you look at the pot of water that is boiling, not cool, not calm. And underneath is strong fire. Fire is the one that boils the water. Fire is the one that takes away the coolness and the calmness of the water in that particular pot. So, Natti Raga Samo Aggi, for example, no? This is a good example. There is no fire like lust. Natti Dosa Samo Kali. There is no agitation like the hatred and anger. See? Raga is the fire. When the lust is entered into our mind get so hot and boiled and start stirring up. Raga is an emotion. Dosa, anger, is an emotion. Soka, sadness. Sadness is an emotion. Cruelty, you get angry at somebody and you really want to hurt that person or that being. Cruelty is an emotion. And you get jealous at somebody because this person is doing better than you are, and this person is happier than you are, richer than you are, and you could get jealous, and that's a fire. All these emotions that disturb our mind, which is called negative emotions, are like fire that stir up our mind. Therefore, in Buddhism, what we try our best is to reduce our lust, hatred, greed, jealousy, cruelty, and that type of emotions we try to reduce and eliminate from our thinking process. When I talk about emotions, this is what the Buddha had taught all along, to reduce our emotions. Raga Chitta. Chitta means mind. Normally we translate Chitta as mind. But I like to translate Chitta as emotions. Chitta Pasadana. To purify the mind. Chitta Visuddhi. Also purifying the mind. Cleaning the mind. From what? From all these emotions. The whole Buddhism is encouraging us, teaching us how to reduce our emotions that come into our mind and disturb our peace and happiness and calmness. So, all negative emotions are like the fire underneath the pot of water that is boiling. Now you can see how dangerous for us to let these emotions arise in our mind, because when these emotions are there in our mind, it is inevitable that our mind get disturbed, agitated, aroused, lose peace, and be harsh. And therefore, in our whole practice of Buddhism, in Buddhism, our whole practice ultimately leads to purifying the mind. Chitta Visuddhi. There is a book that is written by Venerable Buddha Gosa, which is a commentary to all the sutras. It's called Visuddhi Magga. Visuddhi means purification. Magga means method or way of purifying the mind. The whole book is the commentary to the Buddhism is called Visuddhi Magga. So the Buddha's teaching is Visuddhi Magga. Then all the practices, Sila, is leading to purify our mind. Dana is reducing the fire of greed, and many other meditation techniques that we use in Buddhism is for the purpose of purifying our emotions. Now you know, metta meditation, for example, out of 40 different types of meditation taught in Theravada Buddhism, metta meditation is for the purpose of reducing the fire of anger and reducing the disturbance that we experience through the fire of hatred. So when we practice metta, our mind should be cooling down. Buddha is called Siti Bhuta. It's a title for the Buddha. Cool become. Who has become totally cool is called Siti Bhuta, cool become. It's a name for Buddha. And all Buddhists like us should be Siti Bhuta. But is that easy? Not for common people like us. Common people like us constantly get disturbed from what we see, what we hear, what we taste, and so on. And normally, our reactions, emotional reactions, emotion and emotional reactions is harmful to oneself and harmful to others. If you see a snake or something, and if you bring a little stick or even the animal with a little stick, in the end of the stick there's an animal, and you bring that animal closer to the snake, and snake immediately react. That's how untrained people like us are doing. When we hear something that we don't like, we immediately react. When we smell something that we don't like, we immediately react. When we taste something that we don't like, we immediately react. So emotions and emotional reaction is the one that we learn to control is not a good word, minimize. We want to minimize the power of emotions, anger like emotions, lust like emotions, hatred, cruelty, jealousy. Jealousy is a very, very harmful emotion for both the person who is emotional and person who is the subject of that emotion. Both it is harmful. So now when we practice metta, we are talking about metta practice, we reduce several negative emotions at one time. One is greed, hatred, anger. The second emotion when we practice metta, second emotion that we reduce when we practice metta is cruelty, negative emotions. Third emotion that we practice metta meditation is jealousy. And the fourth emotion that we reduced, we get rid of our system, our discrimination and being judgmental. Because you don't like a person who is different from your color, different from your country, different from your nationality. So we don't like. We like the person who is from our culture, our country, who speak our language, things like that. That is discrimination. No? It's a emotion immediately arise in the mind, and you react based on that emotion. That is emotional reaction. So we do something to harm a person who is not your color, not your race, and not your country, and things like that. And now, what do we get positive? We should get something positive, that we reduce these negative emotions are removed from our mind. We should be having or receiving or gaining some good result. Absence of negative emotions, when they are gone, what is it that we experience? That is called upekka, equanimity. We treat something beautiful or something ugly equally. Something that is disturbing, something that is bringing peace equally. Upekka. When the Buddha was a bodhisattva, he was meditating in the forest as a mendicant or recluse. He left home and went to the forest, and meditating there in the forest. And there are a lot of young little kids who are taking care of their cows and goats. So there is a type of little job that these little kids do. They bring the animal to the forest in the morning and they feed them and take the animals back to their property in the evening, and that is for their job. And until then they the animals like the cows are grazing. During that period, these boys have nothing to do. They all get together and have fun, enjoy as kids, doing fun things. And then they see this person who is meditating, is a recluse or mendicant, or the recluse, tapasa, hermit. He meditate under a tree and these boys see him sitting very quietly without moving and closed eyes, sitting still. And these little kids are not excited about it. And some of them are actually nice people. These kids, among these boys who are taking care of the animals in the forest, some of them are nice, some of them are very rowdy and unruly. They go to this recluse who is meditating, the hermit who is meditating, and they have their sticks and things like that. They put, since he's not moving, these boys put little stick in his ear and maybe in his nose and pull his robe and try to disturb the person who is trying to calm his mind and meditating. And now the recluse or the hermit is so peaceful, never mad at the children who is disturbing, putting things in his ears and nose and mouth and pulling the robes and nothing. He's so peaceful and he never get angry at those kids. And there are some other kids know that this hermit is meditating all day and he needs something to eat and he needs some water, and they go out and find some water in a little pot or something and they bring it to give it to the put it in front of the hermit that is meditating, and they bring fruits and put it in front of him for him to eat, because they think that this hermit has no food all day. So the meditating hermit sees that children bring the water and put it in front of him and bring him fruits, and he was never discriminated against. Those people are good, other people are bad, who is sticking sticks in his mouth, nose and ears. He was equally treated, never get upset or never be happy about, never be excited, not happy, excited about the kids who were treating him nicely with water and fruits and other things. So what he did was, he practiced was upekka. Treat people who treat him badly, treat them nicely. He treat both these groups equally. Upekka. No anger, no love. Attachment. Love means attachment there. Huh? So that is what the Buddha has taught us to practice, upekka. Just like that hermit was treating everyone equally, we should treat what we experience good or what we experience bad equally. That is called upekka. Upekkakova viharati. Atapi sampajano. Who is Atapi means trying, working hard to burn down all the negative emotions. Negative emotions are arising in the mind, but this person tries to cut it off immediately. When he's doing it, something else is helping him to do this. It is same thing about us. We like certain things and we get excited, and we hate certain things and we get so depressed and unhappy and angry, and we smell things, we hear things, we see things, we taste things that are negative and positive all the time. And when that is happening, negative emotions arise and some other positive emotions like love and affection, that kind of, they are not necessarily perfect, but not like anger. It's better than anger. So when those things arise, that we should use some part of our brain. That is our skill that we have already, but we need to cultivate. That is what the other link of the eightfold path, that is closest to samadhi. Samma sati, samma samadhi. That is called samma sati. Immediately you become aware that I am getting agitated by the smell. I am getting upset about what this person said to me. I am getting disturbed from what I see in front of me. So if you see that what is happening in your mind, that is called being mindfulness. But most of the time, our mindfulness are not well developed. People like us. When it is not well developed, we are not capable of seeing what is happening in our mind while it is happening. That's the most important thing. While I am getting angry, my mindfulness should help me to be aware of my anger while the anger is arising. Even sometimes our lust arises, passion arises, greed arises. All these things are painful emotions. That painful emotions means emotions that create pain and frustration and fear. The fear is another big emotion that we didn't mention too much earlier. The fear. Do you see something and immediately you get scared? You hear something and you immediately get scared. And it starts pounding your heart and start thinking that it is the end of the world and you are not sure what to do now. And all these things are happening when the fear struck you. Just like lust and hatred struck you. And mindfulness should immediately erupt, be activated if we have cultivated mindfulness. But most of us don't have cultivated, improved mindfulness that has make efficient. If the mindfulness is efficient in our system, this mindfulness can immediately see the emotions that arise and immediately see the reaction that you are going to do or express while you are getting ready to express your reaction, physically or verbally or either way. Mentally, you can express your reaction, and while you are beginning to react with that anger or lust or something, this mindfulness gets started, activated, and tell you to be careful, be watchful. And then you immediately back off a little bit and don't express your anger and don't let the anger grow in your mind. It is already arisen. Don't let it grow, because mindfulness helps you to cut down your anger, your lust, and all the other emotions. So then you can see Samma Samadhi, calmness of the mind, is directly related to Samma Sati. These are not fairy tales or anything. These are not philosophy or anything. But these are real things that we go through every day, every hour, every moment. It's not that Buddha came up with these things as a philosophy. No, this is not a philosophy. That is why Buddha's teaching is not a philosophy. It is a way of protecting your mind and protecting your behavior that would bring you pain and suffering that you don't like. Soka, parideva, dukkha, domanasa, upayasa. This person is thinking, may I never have, they wish, all of us wish, may I never have suffering. May I never have frustrations, domanasa, soka, sadness, parideva, anxiety. May I never have this. But although you hope that may I never have this, we haven't done anything to stop it. We have soka, parideva, dukkha, domanasa, upayasa. We constantly experience, although we don't want to experience them. If we don't want, then we have to know where it is coming from. And to see where it is coming from, you have to cultivate your monitoring ability. The monitoring ability is called mindfulness. Now in the world that we are living in, when the world is highly material type, that means we are constantly interested in material things. What are the material things? Things that pleases my eye, things that pleases my ear, music and beautiful words and sounds and all these kind of things. Anything that excites your sensory organs, nose and mouth and skin and all that, they are called material things. We are constantly making things more attractive to the eye, more pleasant to hear, and more soft and gentle. And when we sit and when we touch something, and that is what the material world is trying to do. All the technology and all the sciences are doing to improve our material world, that we see, that we hear, that we taste, that we smell, and things like that. Constantly they are developing perfumes. Why? Because it pleases your nose, and because it pleases your nose, it's a very good merchandise for you to buy. And when you buy it, and the people who produce those merchandise, like all these perfumes and other things, and even for the face, the makeup and all that, make you more pretty looking, attractive looking. That is what the material world is all about. In the material world, we constantly see things that are attractive, and because of the same reason, we see things that are not attractive. That is the nature. When we live in the material world, we like things that please us. We don't like things that displease us. So therefore, material world, when we are living in a material world, highly developed, cultured, improved material world, it's so easy for us to get attracted to things and get disliked things. So when this is happening, if our mindfulness is pretty sharp, well cultivated, well developed, that is the greatest protection that we can have, especially in the material world, because constantly bombarded by these things that you like and dislike, and therefore we need protection. And therefore cultivation of mindfulness is very, very important, and that's the only way to keep your samadhi, because constantly you can watch what is disturbing you, what is stirring up your mind. So therefore, now in the Buddhist world, we know we have been cultivating samadhi. Cultivating means exercising our calmness. We have been exercising our mindfulness. When you say exercising, make it work faster, make it work well. That is what exercising does. So efficiently, work efficiently. Mindfulness become efficient when you exercise your mindfulness. That is called bhavana. Exercising is called bhavana, cultivation. So all Buddhist meditations are geared towards the cultivation of your samadhi and cultivation of your sati. When this is cultivated, all your behavior become refined, that is sila, and all the other human actions like speaking become refined, action become refined, thinking also become refined. So this when these three areas, sila and samadhi and prajna means mindfulness. Another word for cultivated mindfulness is prajna. Sila, samadhi, prajna is cultivated, then our lives are extremely safe. And when we cultivated these three to the fullest, ultimate level, which is possible according to the Buddha, which he has proven that it is possible, not only for himself, for any person, even a farmer, even a fisherman, even a king or a minister, or even a person who is working as an employee or servant. Anybody can cultivate these things by following proper steps. And all these proper steps are taught in the Dhamma. And the more you learn Dhamma, more you learn how to gain the benefit from your knowledge through cultivation of sila, samadhi, and prajna, and eliminate all suffering and fears and frustrations that we experience in life. And then we become so peaceful and joyful, and our serenity becomes so increased. And normally we call it being an arahant or being fully enlightened. It's not only the Buddha, because Buddha has taught everyone that they can be like that, like the Buddha himself. So today the Dhamma talk is, time is over. And please learn more about samadhi, learn more about negative emotions that bring frustration and fears to our lives. That is very important. Lobha, dosa, moha, issa, mada, mana, ahankara, mamankara, all these are negative emotions. You have heard these words, but you may not exactly know what they are, but it is good to find out. And these are not something that you don't know. We always experience daily basis, and only that we don't pay attention and we don't see it. It is there. It is there means it is working in our mind. So today, that is the Dhamma message, Dhamma talk for today. All the 8 links of the Eightfold Path is equally important, and we discuss a few of them. And please learn more about it. And then more you learn Dhamma, more you learn about yourself, and more you learn about yourself, more you can take care of yourself. And that taking care of means minimizing your pain and suffering and frustration and fears in life. So Dhamma talk is over today, and I like to share the merit, especially with Philip Pham and Heather Duong family from San Jose. They want to share the merit with their deceased family members and friends, and also they want to send blessings to their 2 children, and Joy and Eric, who are graduated from college and working already. And so as parents, you always love your children. And so Heather and Philip want to send blessings to those 2 children. And then Shivananda and Shilpa Naru also want to share the merit with their deceased family members and all the other family members in India. And especially they expect their little a daughter called Prajna, wisdom. Panya in Pali, Prajna in Sanskrit. That is her daughter, their daughter. So they want to send blessings. So we want send blessings to all the children by the power of the merit that you generated through this Dharma talk or sharing the Dhamma knowledge with others, which help them to be happier and more peaceful. And now let us share the merit with all our deceased relatives and family and friends of all of you who are participating in this Dhamma talk, listening to this Dhamma talk. You can also share merit with your deceased family members and also other family members, including your children. And let us recite the Gatha. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Let us share the merit with all the devas, thinking by receiving the merit of sharing Dharma with so many people, we generated so much merit. May those devas, all celestial beings, be able to receive the merit positive energy that we generate and sharing with them. By receiving, may they be happy and joyful and be able to increase their divine luster, and in return may they bring additional protection to our children and our family members and ourselves. With these thoughts in our mind, let us share the merit with all the devas. Akasattha ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditva chiraṃ rakkhantu loka sāsanaṃ. Akasattha ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditva chiraṃ rakkhantu desanaṃ. Akasattha ca bhummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditva chiraṃ rakkhantu maṃ paraṃ. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be happy and well. Wish you all good health and happiness. May you all be able to personally realize the teachings of the Buddha for yourself and your family members and improve your quality of life and finally attain ultimate peace, that is Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.